Hello everybody, my name is Tim. On our channel we have added a new category. We are now doing historical investigations on a lot of the places that have a history of the earlier days, the pioneer days, dating back in the 1800s. We're going to different locations and we hope you will enjoy these type of videos. Be sure to go to our channel, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with our videos. If you like these type of videos, hit that like button. That'll let us know that you are enjoying them. Also share with other people, your friends. Let them know, get them to come to our channel and follow us. If you have any comments, always leave a comment. We like hearing those comments. We like answering back the comments on any questions or anything that you would have to say. Now the place we're going to do several videos because there's quite a bit of history in this town. It's called Corsicana, Texas, and there are many structures and, like I say, a lot of history there. This video that we are doing, it is of Pioneer Village, and we want to thank the people that made this possible, which is Corsicana City Parks and Recreation, and also the Navarro County Historical Society. And we also want to give a special thanks to Deb Miller. She is the coordinator director of Pioneer Village. She was so kind to give us a tour of the place, to tell us the history, what the buildings represented, a lot of the artifacts that they have there from back in the earlier days. She was just very knowledgeable on the past, and really enjoyed that. She was real help to us making this video for you. So without further ado, let's go on this journey. Pioneer Village Museum here in Corsicana, set up by Parks and Recreation and the Corsicana Historical Society. This is kind of a place that's set up of different structures, all log cabins, different type of businesses that was back in the pioneer days. We're going to do a tour through here to look at some of the structures, some of the artifacts that are here, try to learn the history about how life was back in the early days. As you can see behind me, I got several buildings here. Now I do know here in Corsicana there are a lot of historical places for Texas, and we're going to be kind of doing some hitting different spots, seeing different buildings and historical places that we'll be doing videos here. So keep an eye out for those as they come through. But without further talk, let's get busy. Okay, we're good to go.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'm Deb Miller. I'm curator at Pioneer Village, Corsicana, Texas. What Pioneer Village is the history of Navarro County, which is where Corsicana is. Pioneer Village was started in 1956 when a couple of guys decided they want to save the history of Navarro County. They asked the city at that time if they could have some property because they wanted to save a log structure or log cabin that was still standing out in the county. It was a log cabin, a log house that was at a plantation, at the Hodge plantation, that was Dr. Cooksey's house. It was a dog-run house that, dog-run house has two buildings on each side with a breezeway in between. It's called Frontier House. It's here at Pioneer Village. Now that started that, they brought that in. The city said yes, it's here at Jesper Park. That went on for a short period of time. The Historical Society at that time said, well, that's kind of cool. Can we have more property? And so that started a partnership between the Historical Society and the city that maintains today in Pioneer Village. We now have 8 log structures plus other buildings and museums that comprise Pioneer Village. I'm sorry. That comprise Pioneer Village. The 8 log structures that are here are authentic to our county. 2 of them are from the Republic era of Texas, what we're very proud of. The General Store and the Indian Trading Post are the 2 that are. The others are Sam Roberts. The other buildings that are not Sam Roberts, and then we have the Lefty Frizzell building.
Now, Lefty, he was a musician, wasn't he?
Lefty Frizzell was a famous musician from 1940 to 1970. He's the only musician, country western musician, that rivaled Hank Williams on the charts.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I noticed he had like a statue up here before we pulled into here.
In the park, but he has his own museum. He was born in the oil town. There were oil boom towns here associated in the county, Tuckertown. His dad was an oil field worker. He didn't live a long time here. In fact, I think they moved after he was 3 months old. But he always claimed Corsicana as his hometown.
Yeah. Was I believe his name was Jose Antonio Navarro. Was he the first settler in this area? Do you know?
No, he was not. Jose Antonio Navarro never ever even lived here. Jose Antonio Navarro, which is what the county is named for, was a patriot for the fight for Texas, and because he was a patriot, they gave him the prize for naming a county after him, and our county is named for him for that honor of being a
Well, I knew he had something to do with probably the reason why they named Navarro County, but I didn't know if he was one of the first settlers.
No, he did. They named it after him, but Corsicana is named Corsicana because they went to him and said, also for that, we'll let you name the county seat. His father was from the island of Corsica, and he chose the name Corsicana to honor his father.
Okay, all right. Well, if you could, take us through and kind of show us, what you have here, because like I say, I notice there's a lot of structures that are kind of log cabin, kind of different type of businesses that were back in those days. So if you could kind of show us around.
The general store that we have is from Dresden, which was one of the original communities in Navarro County. This was Dan Hartzell's. This is the one that has the squirrel.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily going to go into each one. I just, just want to kind of, I want to leave that for the people, the viewers, to see that, kind of give them a basic information, and that way they can come and view it for themselves.
Yes, this is Tim refurbishing.
He's the fix-it-up guy.
Yep.
Blacksmith shop.
Yeah.
Oh. This is how they'd have done things in the old days. I mean, all the tools for shoeing horses, and there's some old stuff here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was the thing they Ben King's.
What was that, like a forge?
Yeah.
For
blacksmith shop was one of the most important. The blacksmith was very important to a community because he built everything that a person would need to live. Not only wheels, but nails, tools, locks, implements. So he was the most important artisan in town.
Being able to build stuff so people could build their log cabins and.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your good tools.
Get you back then riding in a carriage or a buggy.
Well, that's in a restoration phase. That was the G.W. Grant stage line. The back and the front are off of it. That stage line ran from Madisonville up through Waxahachie, and that was an important form of transportation. From even though it was rough, it was much better than riding horseback from those lengths. So that was like super train to people. Very, very rough.
Can't imagine during the summer and winter. No AC.
Yeah, I try to get a lot of the historical markers or anything that has information, but I don't like to spend a lot of time reading them.
I understand.
I just kind of get them on my camera, and then viewers, if they're interested, they can kind of, read that information. What is this little sign that's over here?
Oh, that's information about
the wagon?
About the stagecoach.
Is it all right to walk across the grass here?
Yeah.
I'll walk over here and view that real quick. Now, is this information, like on these, is that in the brochure that you gave me?
I'm sorry?
The brochure that you gave me earlier, is this type of information in there?
On the brochure?
Yeah.
This is not in the brochure.
Okay. Let's on over around. Old-fashioned type whale.
Yeah, that's that.
This is Frontier House, the very first building that came here. It was taken down log per log and numbered and brought here and built back.
So this is actually original.
This is the actual original logs.
Mm-hmm.
Now the chinking that's in between that holds logs together is not because it would deteriorate and have to be done every couple of years. And the cedar posts and things are not, but the logs are the actual logs.
So some of it is original material, and other is to kind of construct it.
Yes, so that you would know, because if we had had the original material would have been deteriorated. The fireplace, those are original stone and logs. Now square log, most people will ask, why are these square log? We think that we always see round logs on TV. And the difference is when settlers first come, very quickly they need someplace to live. So they fell a tree, knock the limbs off of it, and stack up some round logs in a square box.
Yeah.
When they get things settled, then they want a very pretty usable house. Then they take the time to square off logs. These are all cutting marks with a big saw. Then you square off your logs, have time with making a beautiful functional house. That's why the square logs. We do have some round logs. So if you see round logs, as a rule, that's the very first settlers that came in.
Sounds like a lot of work cutting these logs.
Yeah. But they had the big saws. You'll see the big saws with handles on each end. They got it going, but very early on they mechanized a lot of things. You would be surprised how early they mechanized. Yeah, he's a farmer. Dr. Cooksey's office was here in this part of the building. They lived, they ate, they played. if you'll notice the frame at the top, the top, that was a quilting frame. In the evening when they got ready, they would pull that down, work on it, and then put it back up because they had to use economy of space.
I know when I was growing up, my grandparents, they didn't have power. They still used the kerosene lamps and the well and the outhouse and all that. They lived kind of the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. This kind of building, the dog trot or dog run kind of building was very common in the South because it's cooler. It's because of ventilation. And everyone, most of the time, unless you were very wealthy, you cooked out in the yard in the summer, you entertained outside. That's why porches in the South came from in the South. You entertained out on your porches. You might have slept out in your porches. You cooked and did all of your things outside because it was too hot in your building. But this was a ventilation path to make it
kind of like
cooler.
a breezeway.
It is. It's a breezeway. And it makes, see how it's much cooler in here? And that's why it's very common in the South type of building. But a lot of things happen outside in the South.
I could live in a house like this. That's cool.
This is Ethan Melton's kitchen. Now, Ethan Melton was considered one of the very first people in Navarro County. Okay? He was in Dresden. His brother, he had the first land or head right that was given and was very integral in when they got the charter for Navarro County. His brother fought and died at the Alamo.
What was his name again? Ethan?
Ethan Melton.
I think I remember that name from reading some of the history on the Alamo.
His brother, Alil, Alil, is the one that died at the Alamo, but he got his head right from his brother, having fought at the Alamo. But his kitchen, and it's unusual to have a kitchen. You had to have some money to have an off-site kitchen, and one of the reasons you wanted an off-site kitchen is that logs and the chinking in between was made of sticks and mud and wood, which caught fire a lot. So if you cooked a lot in your house, it could catch fire and burn. So if you had enough money, you would have an off-site kitchen.
So if it does burn down, your house would be okay.
Your house didn't burn down with that, and it wasn't quite as hot in your home when you did that. But Ethan Melton was on the committee to establish the county of Navarro County. He was in Dresden. He had the post office in his home. So he was a very great man in establishing our county to start off with.
What is this?
Throwing nuts at you.
This is a servant's cabin. Uncle Joe. This is Uncle Joe's cabin. This came from the Pillins property. It was not always a servant's cabin. It was a family cabin. If you'll take note about the bed with the rope bed springs, this photo is a photo of the last slaves in Navarro County. They were, I think, 100 years old at that point.
A lot of these structures, they just show off a lot of history for this community.
Oh.
Like the lifestyle back then.
Do that.
A lifestyle back then, like if you would live back then, this is what it would look like.
Yeah.
All the tools
Some of the furnishings they would have, you know.
Well, it's a lot harder than today's time.
Yeah. Don't have the luxuries back then we have today with the ACs, electricity. And
we had a guy come to look at this because he grew up in this part of the cabin. This cabin was attached to another house, and his white guy. And he said, I grew up in this part of the cabin. I just wanted to come see it. And he was an older guy. And I was like, that's so cool that you could come and see this.
Yeah, kind of a
that
step back in time.
Yeah, I know that you were in this cabin.
I feel like I'm walking in the past.
The steel barn is closed right now. That's closed right now. It had photos and mementos.
I feel like a pioneer.
You feel like a pioneer now?
Yeah, well, kind of.
Yeah, can you imagine making your own clothes, working out in the field?
Yes. You don't go to Walmart and buy nothing. You have to make your own. Unless they have a trading post like this where you can go get stuff.
You could go to the general store after a while and get some root beer if you wanted it. It's the Indian Trading Post. This was in Spring Hill. Sam Houston, okay, you know about Sam Houston?
Oh, yeah.
Sam Houston appointed George Washington Hill as the Indian agent for the area. And this is where he came down. Spring Hill is over by Dawson on the west part of the county. So this was his log structure. With that, this is filled with arrowheads and things. It also holds the arrowheads from the Dawson. They'll go away. The Dawson massacre. It's not called the Surveyors Massacre, but it was one of the last big massacres in the Texas. Around there, they were surveying that area, and they told them not to light a fire, and they did. And they came back and they massacred the Indians. Massacred.
Oh, wow, check that out, Braxton.
I believe it was 16 people, 16 of the surveyors. And by the time they found them, the coyotes had gotten them pretty well. And so there's a monument there.
A little compass.
That's a surveyor. That's the original survey instrument for the boundaries of Navarro County. When you had to go out, you had to survey your land property on where that is, and that's the original survey.
Buffalo Bill.
What?
Say Buffalo Bill. Wild Bill Hickok.
Now, even though it's not in the county, we go ahead and talk about Cynthia Ann Parker at Fort Parker. So this is kind of part of the legends around here where she was kidnapped. Quanah Parker.
And for my viewers, I really suggest you come and visit Pioneer Village Museum here in Corsicana, because this is a beautiful place the way they have it set up. A lot of the old type structures that they would have had back in those days, and part of it, as Dad was saying, there is some of the original materials constructed in some of these unique structures. So if you're ever in the area, please do stop by and check out this site. When you get done cleaning that, when you clean mine next.
I got to talk to you soon before today. Do you hear me? Yeah. Okay. You didn't respond.
These water fountains work?
Yes, I did.
What is this, like an old concrete mixer?
Yeah.
Is that what this is?
This is not. This is actually a dough mixer from College Street Bakery.
Oh, for making their breads.
Yes.
Looks kind of like an old concrete mixer.
It does.
That's what I thought it was when I looked
Most
at it.
people think it's a concrete mixer, but no, it's a dough mixer. We just couldn't get it any further
But
than this. It is
that's as
very
heavy as can be, too.
Dang.
And of course, before that, they all had to do it all by hand. Grandma, that's what she did every day. She baked bread and, all the food. It was what they raised in their gardens, or my grandpa, what food ate was usually from hunting. And then of course they would go to like a store and get basic stuff that, like flour and
Sugar and
stuff like that.
Eggs probably. Maybe.
That you couldn't
Do they have like
grow itself. But
restaurants back there and stuff? Like where
No.
you can like go in, eat and stuff, having to make your own food?
well, I mean,
Or like you can
in some of the old towns they had like a saloon or a restaurant, place where they could go dine.
They would, after a while, they would. But when you came as a settler,
No,
let's say to Texas, you had to kill and cook your own food and
grow.
your own food.
Yeah, you didn't have the luxuries, but as the town build up with more settlers coming in, then they started developing a lot of the businesses like the blacksmith shop and the trading post, and they eventually built like boarding houses.
Would start there.
Okay.
Sam Roberts Museum. Sam Roberts was a collector here in town. He was an executive at Oil City Iron Works, which is a foundry that has been in town since the late 1800s. But he was a collector. So there is a lot of eclectic items in there that you can see.
You thought your knife collection was big?
Uh-huh.
He's kind of into collecting different style knives and everything.
Well,
But he'll never get a hold of anything this old.
yeah,
Not unless you got a lot of money.
well, yeah, but he collects a lot of different
I
things.
used to be a collector. I kind of still am, but not as much. I used to collect just basic things like rocks and stuff. Just
Well, you need to stick to one item. He has gotten, and we're going to be defining a collection in here. I came a couple of years ago, and we're going to be defining a collection on here. Some of these things aren't pertinent to Pioneer Village. Some are. The safe was from Oil City Iron Works, which has been here because they used to put concrete inside the door of the safe to make it harder to drill, which not really, but it makes it a whole lot heavier. So when you see on the old westerns where they hook a horse up
Yeah, yeah.
to the safe. I
No,
don't think
that's TV. It don't work that way.
Yeah, because when you try to move this, that doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well with that.
Now is that a kind of original from back in that time? This safe?
Is this original?
Yeah, from back in that era.
Yes, it is. Yeah, this was a safe from Oil City Ironworks. From I don't know exactly what the year is on this safe, but this is an original safe.
That's a thick safe.
Yeah, carry that off.
Yeah. So
If you're a bank robber or whatever, you work cut out for you.
Yeah.
You know, movies make it look like it's so easy.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
No, it's not. No, it's
So
not.
do they keep like money in it or something? Or like?
Yeah, you keep money in stocks and bonds, things like that. Anything that's valuable.
Do they have stuff like this in banks? Do they even have banks back then? Well, as it grow on.
Oh, yeah. And they had bigger safes than this in banks. But
Is this steel or metal?
This kind of looks familiar.
What?
kind of
Kind of.
Well, then you're old.
When I was young.
Well, then you're really old.
We had, well, I mean, it's not exactly like that, but
No, I know.
it was basically that
But
style
something similar.
that I remember in
He's 67?
first, second grade maybe.
I thought he was 69, but apparently he's 67.
Yeah, don't rush it.
The bell is from Angus from an old school. Angus is a little town just south.
I do have a question for you. Maybe you might not know the answer. I've been trying to find out. In the old courthouse, it has like the clock tower up there. Did that used to have a bell in it as well that would chime on the hour? Or?
I don't know.
Really
I don't know the answer to
Yeah, I've been trying to find out the answer. I mean, it's big enough that where they could have had a bell in there, but
I tell you, they won't answer that
I don't
at the
know
courthouse.
if they did or it was just a clock on the four sides.
They will answer. They can answer that. But I tell you, if it did have a bell in it, they would have put it back because they just did a restoration on that.
Yeah.
And they tried to restore it back to
kind of its original.
To what it was.
Yeah.
The county judge, H.M. Davenport, that's his baby, and they did a great restoration as much as they could comply to on that, and they did a great job. I'm
finding out a lot of the places that we go where they're doing restorations on the buildings that if you look at kind of the old picture of what it was originally and after the restoration, it is very, very close. Because they try to get it just exactly like it. I mean, it's going to look newer, but it's still going to be the same style, the texture.
The elevators, they couldn't, and not. But the big courtroom is almost identical. They had these panels and things, and he loved that. So, if there had been a bell, there would have been a bell. Yeah. This is the carriage house.
Holy snap.
This is a horse-drawn hearse that was from McCammon Brothers Funeral Home at the turn of the century. I don't know if it says the date on it, but it's a horse-drawn. This Surrey back here was Pancho Villa's Surrey. Now, Pancho Villa was the Robin Hood of the Mexican people. He would maraud into Texas, steal, and take back to Mexican people. He did not come up as far as us. They probably not as far as San Antonio or so. But he did steal from the rich and give to the poor, and the Mexican people loved him. And this was his Surrey.
Is that what they put, like, coffins or something? Or?
That's a coffin.
So that's why it looks so nice.
Yeah, that's how they had them back in that day, just a wooden box, pine box.
I thought that's how the rich people travel around with these nice
Well, yeah,
wagons.
but they also did pine boxes and
fascination. That explains why it's so much bigger than the rest of them.
Yeah, they also did pine boxes. But McCammon Brothers is the building's still there, the house is still there. 15th and 6th, it needs restoration. But it's not far from Oakwood. It's just down.
Wow.
I love seeing old stuff like this. Old treadle, and doesn't look like nothing the one my grandma had.
That's old stuff.
Especially when you compare them to nowadays and back then, it's just so much
Well, I really didn't know they had, treadles back in that day. I always thought that, they always go to like a general store and bought material and use the old hand sewing.
They did hand sew, but they had treadles very early on, especially in the north. Not when they didn't, if they could get it here on a wagon, if they had enough space, they would get it here. And if you were wealthy, you would send for it. But so many times when they were settling Texas, they paid people to come. They asked for, when Austin's colony said they were bringing people, paying people here, they wanted people with, that would grow cotton and blacksmith, experience. This is the people they wanted to come to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the people who came, were workers. This is who they were giving money to and land to come. Not a lot of stuff anyway. These are skilled labor.
They were more or less setting them up to survive and operate a business.
This is how they wanted Texas to start with that. It was not people who were moneyed people who started. These are frontier people.
Yeah, now I can see that carriage better out here than I could in there.
Mm-hmm, there you go.
Because it was so dark,
Yeah.
they didn't want to light up. That's an old hearse. That's how they took you from, I'm not exactly sure where they took you from, but took you to a grave site where you were buried. Kind of a public restroom that was outdoors for, I guess, people to come through rather than just original.
I guess the restrooms are public. They didn't have private restrooms like in the houses or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, at your house you had like an outhouse, but if you weren't living there, you were just a traveler passing through. Mm-hmm. It was either that or go out to the woods somewhere.
Mm-hmm. So I was about to say, so if you needed to go to the restroom, you had to walk over to the restroom outside.
Yeah. Now, is there somebody buried here, or is just these are set up for?
They are not. I'll tell you about Charlie M. Charlie M was a famous racehorse. There was a racetrack here just before around the turn of the century. Charlie M was a horse that was a trash wagon hauler, and they could not get him to slow down enough to haul the trash, so they sold him to a man, a Mr. Mitten, and he made him into a race horse. He was the most winning racehorse in Texas that there was, and he lived for 26 years. He was so winning that they proclaimed a day for him in the Texas legislature. He's buried over on another side of town and had a monument put up. But when they were widening the roads, they were going to have to move the monument. So they didn't move Charlie M. We just took the monument. So these are just monuments for these horses. But Charlie M is the famous monument. There's something on the back of Charlie M's memorial monument. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah. I can't remember what it says.
It's hard to see. Try to get the angle, maybe.
This is closed. The peace officers is closed because I'm redoing the exhibit.
Was this kind of like the sheriff or whatever?
Well, I'll show you what we're doing because you can film one piece of it.
No, it's just more or less a history.
Well, we're doing the history of the peace officers, but so that's not that. But the important part is the Bonnie and Clyde part, because Clyde is from our county, and that's just fell down. But this part is basically done. If you wanted to look at it.
Yeah. What is that, like a cell?
Yeah, there's a cell back here.
Yeah. That's where you stayed in the old days.
Huh.
This is where you got to go when you were bad and got caught.
Yeah, but we're restoring this and putting new exhibits up right now.
It's gonna be nice when it's done.
So this will be really good when I get through with this.
That metal?
To see the outlaw John Wesley Hardin, he taught school at Nash School, which is on Pittsburgh Ridge, in the south of the county, when he was 16, either 15 or 16, before he went on his marauding ways.
It's like an outdoor cells.
Well, it's not a Harlem hoodlum wagon, so this actually was an indoor, but we have it outdoor. It was at Richland, but they would have had similar one. They had a similar one outdoor in Blooming Grove. This is an eight.
Yeah,
Cot.
there's four. So four people are staying here.
They flip up and down. But the women complained so much because you could see everything that was going on that they had to put curtains up. And
Well, can you imagine?
Four people
living in one little bitty space
Yeah.
like that?
imagine.
Oh, yes, that's good, but like.
Makes you not want to be in jail.
Yeah.
But
Teach people lessons.
this particular one was in Richland, Texas, and was enclosed in a log cabin. But a similar one was in Blooming Grove, just like it, and was outdoor.
Geez, playhouse.
This is a playhouse that was in the Matthews' backyard for their kids.
Is it open?
No.
Okay. It's got like dolls and children's toys and some children's clothing. There's a shine on the window. I'm not able to view through there with my camera, so.
Yeah.
But like I say, be sure to come if you're in Corsicana, Texas area. Stop by the Pioneer Village Museum.
Alright, this is the Redden House. The Redden House was built on our main street, which is Beaton Street, in 1860. It was lived in until 1930, when it was donated and moved, and they took all the clapboard off. It was just like Frontier House. It was a log cabin underneath. It even had oxen yoke built in on some areas supporting it. They decided to go ahead and put the clapboard back on that. What it is, it had been redone to probably the era of 1900 or so, has not been refurbished since then.
So this is kind of like a boarding house for...
No, it was someone's home. It was someone's home. It was the Reddens. It will show you furniture from a Victorian era.
Oh wow. Pretty big.
Yeah. This is a square grand piano. It's one of two that are in our area. They're fairly rare.
That's an old type telephone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't remember nothing like that, but I remember the ones that you had to, it was like a 4-party line. You had to get the operator and tell them what number who you were calling.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd go to use it and you'd hear everybody else's conversations.
Wait, so you can talk to multiple people at once?
Yeah. Well, my mom, I remember,
A party
she
line.
used to get so mad
Party line.
when she had to make a call or something. She'd pick up and there'd be a couple
Somebody
people on there
else
just
on
talking. She'd hang up,
So they probably going.
wait about 5 minutes, and you pick it up again. They still be talking. And I remember her saying one time, says, "You ladies gonna gab all day long? I need to make a phone call." And they got, I guess, kind of got in an argument. But I remember that.
These are china, pieces of china from a famous china painter that was here early in the 1900s. They were called the Sandwich China painter. She was very famous. Her famous china was I think they're in the office, but was the grapes. But she had the forthwith that during the war she sent overseas for her china so that she would have her blanks, so that she had china to paint, and her china was sold worldwide.
Was that like a camera
This is a nice house.
sitting on top there?
Yeah, it's an early, like one of the, this is not a brownie, but this is a
Yeah.
Spectator.
Never seen anything like that.
Yeah. It's an
I think so
early,
with that, the old cameras.
that's an early.
The only cameras I remember back in that time is where it'd be on a tripod stand and he'd get underneath the thing and make
yeah, no, this is do you remember the old brownie cameras?
Mm-mm.
We'll look that up.
He ain't that old.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't know. I can't say that I know everything.
I know a lot of
You know, that's kind of a good thing because that
Yeah.
just gives me the
more knowledge.
inclination to learn more.
I don't want to say it's probably one of the first cameras to come out, but it's old camera.
Yeah. They, see, when people used to travel, they had to take everything with them, so they had trunks, and they were called steamer trunks. And like in the movie Titanic,
Oh yeah.
they had to take multiple trunks. So this has an ironing board, and that they had to pack all their
Right.
shoes,
That looks
clothes,
Yeah.
everything.
They had jewelry, you know, everything.
Everything with them.
Some old dress there.
nice outfit back there. I mean, I was living in this house.
I remember seeing
You
something like
Yeah,
that
living
back
in
in my
now.
time.
Yeah.
It's a nice house. I mean, I'm not gonna say living. I'm just saying like if it was.
My house was built in 1905. Pain.
I mean, it's not huge,
No,
but
older houses are fine.
That's the little stroller used back on Sundays after church, to where they go walking through the park. You know, with a parasol to keep the sun off you.
Everybody played an instrument because, there was some music. They read, they played instruments, they sang, because that's the entertainment they had in the evening. They read poetry, so they entertained themselves.
It's warm in there.
It is warm. I need to put a ceiling fan in there. Every time I walk in there, I go, I need to put a ceiling fan.
Well, I can imagine what it'd be like about the middle of the afternoon around here.
Yeah, that's why I told you to come in the morning. There's air conditioning in here.
Lefty. There's the country musician.
There's another one in here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, I Googled him after I talked to you to kind of see what kind of music,
If you got the money, honey, I got the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was noticing I'd heard some of his music, but never knew who it was.
That's right. He also wrote for a lot of people that you didn't know he wrote for later on.
I was trying to see if I could find out any information whether he had performed in the Grand Ole Opera in Tennessee, and if he might have even played with the show with Hee Haw or whatever it was with Buck Owens and Roy Clark.
I don't remember if he was on Hee Haw, but he probably was. He died in the 70s. But he was the only one that ever topped the charts over Hank Williams.
Yeah.
He was the first one to wear what's called a nudie suit with the spangles all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, everybody did after that. Even the Beatles and John Lennon and Elvis, and he's the one that started that.
Pretty cool.
Recognize any of them? Oh, that's back before your time?
Yeah.
I don't even recognize any of them.
Yeah. Not in my history book. If they were, I don't remember.
There's an old record player behind me.
Oh wow.
Don't see those every day either. Yeah.
Wow.
He gave Merle Haggard his start.
Yeah,
And Merle Haggard was here when they originally put the statue in down there.
And I like this too.
Well, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. I think so. That's a nudie suit. It's very famous.
You know, when I did some research on the Petroleum Building Museum. That is the first oil well. Or the first place they discovered oil in Texas.
That's right.
And it says it's still operating.
Yeah, it does.
I kind of thought that all the oil started was down south towards Houston and down that area. I didn't know it started here.
Everybody thinks that Spindletop was first, but actually we were first. It's just Spindletop was commercially viable. More commercially viable than we were. This is a filling station.
Yeah, back then they only had one kind of gas, or they had the two, which they called regular and ethyl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Step down.
I remember that. Leaded or unleaded. And then it went to unleaded and leaded.
Yeah. But back when it first came out, it was regular or ethyl, I think is what it was called.
Yeah, regular ethyl.
Is this like a freezer or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would
soda
go,
pop
when
cooler.
you went to the filling station, or
Where you got your soda pops.
you would open these up, and they'd be filled with ice, and they would have glass bottles of soda pop in them.
Oh, sounds
Cold.
delicious right now.
Oh man, they were
Yeah.
cold.
I still got some of the old bottles from
Yeah.
back at that time. You can't find them more. They're collector's
Yeah.
items.
Chocolate soda pops, those Yahoos, and
Mm-hmm.
Orange Crush.
Yeah, it was Orange Crush, knee
And
high.
they were colder than cold because they were in icy water. You know, that makes them just.
Yeah, not like putting them in the refrigerator.
Man, they're not in the refrigerator. They're colder than cold.
Let me see something here now.
This is all about the oil history. Oh wow. That's Spindletop there. But
Now, where is that derrick? Is that the one that's up there, kind of as you come into town, where they put like a bypass through? And I see like a derrick that's standing.
no, that's just a memorial kind of thing.
So that's not where it's at?
No, it's actually on 287 on the split. It's it's just a little pump jack at Haney's Drilling Company. You wouldn't even know it was there. It's if you went on over the overpass and you go to a split and you go to the left on 287.
South?
Yeah, you're going south like you're going to 45. It'll say Haney's Drilling.
Okay, down there kind of in the area where...
There's Heritage Park is over here. Heritage Park is here.
Home Depot is down in that area?
You're going toward Home Depot.
So it's kind of before you get there?
No, yes, before.
It?
No, it's
okay.
before.
Well, got more back here.
Yeah, this
Last
is the
one.
Cotton Gin Scale House.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that on the information.
Yeah, Cotton Gin
There's the cotton gin.
It would be beside or near a cotton gin.
Mm-hmm.
It's where a loaded wagon would pull up on a scale. They would weigh it. They would go off to the cotton gin, offload their cotton, bring their wagon back, weigh it again.
So they knew how much
So they
cotton
knew
weight.
how much cotton and how to pay them. But the weighmaster, the cotton, he would, usually the bell rang.
Yeah. To tell them when they could go or...
It would, yeah, there's a bell. Kid told me yesterday I should just pull it down, and there
it goes, yeah.
And, because I told him it was hard to do, and he said, no, you just pull it down and lightly let it go. I was like, okay. But this is all information about cotton. And that's how tall a cotton bale actually is.
Oh, that's the like.
That's actually the height of a cotton bale.
Dang. Pretty big. Pretty big.
Almost like a square bale of hay.
Yep, it is close.
Yeah, because I know they still
Be careful there. That's a cedar.
do.
They do big ones now.
Yeah, down there, what, a Powell?
They have. They still have a gin in Powell.
Yeah.
And then they have a gin over going toward Williams Gin. It's embossed.
I wonder if they had museums back then, even older, you know. Like they had like a museum of their own that went even farther back, like we have one today.
Sure.
Because our museum now is like, you know, looking at the, what are these, like 1800s, 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they had ones back in like the even older, like 1700s.
Well, you have to think about though that the United States wasn't even around until the 1700s.
Like, I wonder if they have like doing what kind of we do nowadays.
Yeah, they had some, and they started doing history. Everybody's always been interested in history. But but the United States doesn't have as long a history as, let's say, Europeans do.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, because
On
from
that.
over there on that side,
Oh,
they come
there's
from
a-
there to
ours
here.
Ours is nothing.
Yeah, they date back in the 1700s
I mean, like,
and even
way,
earlier.
like way.
Yeah.
We say something about, oh, that's just from, you know, 17, and they're like,
1500s and
Oh my God,
before.
it's like 25,000 years ago.
I know, they're like, that is mattress stuffer.
This is back in like 200 BC.
Stuff cotton in the mattress. All right, you've done the deal.
Well, we appreciate it, Deb. Thank you for taking us on the tour and being able to.
Bangkok, huh?
Yeah, come from
like
the
a town
bank
clock?
over here.
Huh?
I say that came from the
Downtown.
Like the downtown, yeah.
Yeah.
old sundial over here. But anyways, you know, I want to thank you for giving us your time, giving us a tour through here, and you know, kind of telling the viewers of some of the history on this place, and we really appreciate it.
We certainly have a big history, and we like anybody to come and see Pioneer Village.
Well, we're going to wrap this video up. Be sure to watch all the way through. Of course, that'll be in my intro as well. But you can also check out on some of the other videos or watch for our upcoming videos on more history on Corsicana. And like I say, if you're ever in the area, be sure to stop in and check it out.